From Fox News, Trump-Putin will hold first ever in-person meeting since Ukraine invasion next week in Alaska. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin will meet next Friday, August 15th, for the first in-person meeting between the leaders of the U.S. and Russia since Moscow launched its deadly 2022 invasion of Ukraine. The leaders are expected to meet in Alaska, Trump said in a post on Truth Social. The highly anticipated meeting between myself as President of the United States of America and President Vladimir Putin of Russia will take place next Friday, August 15th, 2025, in the great state of Alaska, Trump wrote in his Friday evening post. Further details to follow. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I love the thank you for the attention to this matter. It's my favorite Trumpism now. The location of the meeting was a major point of interest after the summit was first floated following a call between Trump and Putin on Wednesday after White House envoy Steve Witkoff traveled to Moscow to meet with the Kremlin chief. Hungary, Switzerland, Italy, and the UAE were all under consideration, with Putin originally favoring Hungary, according to sources familiar with the planning. The Kremlin chief also shot down the idea of meeting in Italy, according to reports on Friday, due to Rome's perceived closeness with the Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelenskyy. Following the Wednesday Trump-Putin call, the U.S. president also spoke with Zelenskyy, along with European leaders, on the potential for a trilateral meeting. So I don't know how realistic a trilateral meeting would be, but I mean, again, to your point earlier, Elaad, do you think that if Trump says, hey, Zelenskyy, get on a plane, do you think that he has the ability to say no?
I don't think Putin wants to meet with Zelenskyy because it gives him more credibility than I think Putin believes he deserves. So he doesn't want to give him of respect to meet with him. I think Putin and Trump are going to meet in Alaska and nothing's going to get done. Like a bold lib at a bar, he's being led on. What do you think
would happen if Donald Trump were to say no? Get on a plane, Zelenskyy. Do you think Zelenskyy would?
I think Zelenskyy definitely would. I think it makes Zelenskyy look like a more potent political figure if he's meeting with Putin. Putin's never met with Zelenskyy. The way Putin talks about Zelenskyy is like that he's a rogue state, that Ukraine, is a completely rogue actor, and he's a leader of an illegitimate state. So if he meets with him, it's giving him like that credibility. And so Zelenskyy wants to meet with Putin. Putin doesn't want to meet with Zelenskyy. Putin wants to waste Trump's time in this meeting and lead him on more. And the war is going to go on because Putin wants definitely a bigger bite of Ukraine because they made baby gains. Russian military, very unimpressive gains in Ukraine. Not crushing it.
I do think it would be based if Trump got Putin to admit that they wanted Hillary to win. What? I think that would go viral. If Trump gets Putin to admit that they actually wanted Hillary to win and not Trump the first time around.
Why would he bring that up when they're talking about war?
Do you think that will happen?
That would be fantastic. It would just end everyone's brains would melt. But that is what it kind of looked like. Is Russia did want Hillary, not Trump, the first time around, based on everything that's coming out with Tulsi and everything else. So
maybe.
Yes,
but
Zelenskyy is a chump. Yes, so
Zelenskyy is a chump?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I agree with Elaad. So yeah, Putin's like, he's one of the world leaders. He might be a terrible person, but Zelenskyy is some dude who dances and he's for the worst corrupt country in the world.
Democratically elected.
Sure, that's what they say.
You don't think he's kosher?
I don't think he's kosher.
I believe he was democratically
Zelenskyy?
Yeah. I mean, we could dislike him, but
fine. Either way, but I don't think Putin thinks he stands up to him in any certain way.
No, I mean, I think I agree with you guys. I think that Vladimir Putin doesn't have any respect for Zelenskyy. Yeah. But I don't know that. I think that Donald Trump does have the ability to say, look, he's here. Like if he were to bring him in and surprise Putin. Now, Putin might be like, all right, well, I'm leaving. That might actually happen, and I think that I don't think
gotcha interview. I
don't think
like Alex Stein where he brings someone else on the show.
Yeah,
it's like,
I mean, it's possible.
They're beefing.
It's possible. Yeah. I think that honestly, if you really think about it, I don't think that Donald Trump would want to risk that because Putin would get up and be like, all right, well, I'm leaving.
Took a lot to get him here.
And so I don't think that he would want to.
It would be base
risk
though.
it. I mean, it would be funny. But I don't think Donald Trump wants to risk that.
Yeah.
Trump's talked a lot of ish about getting this settled. And he's failed valiantly for forever, since January.
In my opinion, it was a bad idea to talk about this as something that he could just walk in and make the deal.
Yeah.
Because Putin has all the cards. Trump talks about who's got the cards and stuff. There is absolutely no reason for Putin to say, okay, well, I'm going to stop then now that Trump's back. Because, I mean, the U.S. could threaten military involvement, but everyone knows where that leads. And whether or not the U.S. would actually start down that road, nobody wants.
And then I think you lose
the
people.
results.
You lose the favor.
Well, the American people, well, Putin knows that the American people don't support that.
Right.
Like we were just talking about how the American people are like, okay, well, if Americans aren't doing the dying and we're not paying for it, fine. But the American people wouldn't be like, oh, you want to risk nuclear war so that way you can protect Ukraine, which I don't give an S about.
Right.
The American people, that would not fly. Right. Now, I do think that the U.S. has, I think that this particular engagement or this war has shown that Russia is kind of a paper tiger beyond their nuclear weapons, right? Like if it were U.S. versus Russia without nuclear weapons, there is no question in my mind the United States would stomp an absolute mud hole in them, right? Just absolutely decimate the Russians. And I think the Russians know that. And I think that the only thing that they're relying on their nuclear arsenal to prevent that from happening.
But to Elaad's earlier point, I mean, that's if like China doesn't, back them up, and
I'm only talking about a head-to-head kind of.
I know, but all of a sudden you get people teaming up, and all of a sudden we're in World War III.
Well, I mean, but World War III would mean nuclear weapons. Like I said, you're talking about military powers of the U.S., conventional military powers of the U.S. versus Russia.
Sure.
Russia just doesn't. Right. Russia doesn't have a chance because Russia can't even.
But that's not how war is fought anymore. It's not fought head to head.
The point that I'm making is Russia can't steamroll the Ukraine. Right. They don't have the military might that people assumed before the Ukraine war.
They kind of can, though. Like they could turn it into glass.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay. So again, not talking about nuclear weapons is the point that I'm trying to make here.
All right.
Like, Sean, why don't
people
you
think are playing fair? What's that?
Why don't you think they've used these nuclear weapons that you're talking about?
That's a real good question. That's a real, and it's scary to think about, when Putin's on his deathbed.
I know
what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, he doesn't because he'd become incredibly isolated as a result of it. Like China.
Well, if you're on your deathbed,
well, I don't know what to say. Crazy leaders on their deathbed. What could they do? Is Putin on his deathbed? I don't know what we're even talking about.
I mean, there was a rumor in the media that he had cancer. Was like a couple months ago or whatever. He had cancer. Have you guys heard this? I mean, it was a story. Yeah.
No, I just saw something in the chat.
Oh, I was like, I don't know why that's funny. Like Putin with cancer. I mean, maybe it is funny.
Well, I mean, but even if that, like, we've heard rumors, but you don't see him falling apart the way that you would imagine.
Yeah, right. But he has the best health care of like anyone, and like on Earth almost.
The point that I'm making is the argument was he had cancer and he was degrading and et cetera, et cetera.
It was like rumors we didn't know. Yeah,
it was 2 years ago, and we haven't seen the fruition of this alleged cancer. Right? Like,
well, you can live with cancer for years.
No, to rewind, what we were actually talking about was Russia's military capacity in Ukraine and their ability to overtake it, which they haven't displayed and they haven't done a very good job of. But like they do have nukes, they can nuke Ukraine. It wouldn't do much for them, but conventionally they are clearly unable and falling very short, probably losing hundreds of thousands of Russians for a lot less than I think they anticipated to get originally. This looks like, from a Russian perspective, almost like their Afghanistan. Well, Afghanistan Part 2, I guess.
That's a good,
No, it's not even close to Afghanistan because like almost every I can't think of a significant engagement the United States lost in Afghanistan.
Oh, that way.
It's a metaphor for being bogged down.
And like waste of time and a waste of money.
Unable to fulfill your ultimate like military goals.
To the political ends of it.
Like when we went into Afghanistan, we thought, we're going to change these people. We're going to turn them into Americans. They're going to have blue jeans.
That was
Iraq.
Iraq. That's not what we thought in Afghanistan.
Well, Afghanistan. Well, yeah, you're right. We turned Afghanistan to glass, and then we thought we can go to Iraq and do that. But yeah.
Yeah, like in Iraq, it was like, oh, we're going to set these
Afghanistan
people free.
was like,
we'll be, welcomed as liberators in Iraq, et cetera, et cetera. Afghanistan, it was just like, you're in the Stone Age, and we're going to keep you there for the next 30 decades if you don't
no nation
turn
building
them
in
over.
Afghanistan.
And the funny thing, and after 9/11, you remember this, Phil, like the Americans were all on board for that strike in Afghanistan because we had just got hit.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone was out there, rah, rah, rah. And even I hate war, and I was supporting it because it's like you just killed, thousands of Americans. So it's like, of course. But then when it went to Iraq, that was the bridge too far for a lot of people. And that's all I'm saying. Like, this stuff escalates, and you're going to lose the favor of the American people the more we're fighting in these wars. That's my opinion.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't think that I think that we've made it fairly clear that the American people don't support, having an actual war in Ukraine where the U.S. is actually on the ground and involved in the fight.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.